Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here from the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to rank every single positional group for the Silver and Black. A lot of the times when we go live, a lot of the super chats, questions that we get are kind of around certain position groups, and when I was getting my tattoo on Thursday and Friday, I ended up asking Graf, Raider Cody, shout out to Hammer, shout out to Kenny King, and a lot of these guys wasted, what are your thoughts on a lot of these position groups? So what I figured today was I'm going to rank them from the group that I am the most confident / the group that I believe is the best. And just because certain groups have the top players, that does not mean that I rank them as the number one group. I looked at it from the overall unit from top to bottom. That's how these rankings are going to go. So the way that I have divvied these up, it's 12 overall position groups. To make sure you never miss anything going on around the Raiders, click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because it's kind of like the regular season now, and I am so excited for the season here at Chat Sports, at the Raiders Report. If you don't know, we're going to be going live not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times a week during the season. So think of it as Sunday's game day, Monday live Raiders Report, Tuesday live Raiders Report, Wednesday I'll be on Locals Live, but then Thursday, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live again for Thursday Night Football Palooza. Rest up and do it all again. I'm telling you what, you thought I was bringing content before? I'm doing it like you've never seen it before. All right, here we go. We're going to get into the very first position group that I am the most confident in, and it's the wide receiver room, and you have arguably the best receiver in the National Football League in Davante Adams. You have a very solid Jakobi Meyers, who might be the most underrated receiver on this squad, and I do think that he's a player that can get in that 65, 800 yards with 7 touchdown range. Yes, Jimmy Garoppolo maybe not put up these giant numbers, but this is a really talented wide receiver room. Then you have Hunter Renfrow, one of the best slot receivers in the league. I don't need him to get 100 catches. I need him to be a reliable third down receiver, where if he gets that 45, 50, 55 catches, that's the perfect mark here for this team. Then you got Trey Tucker. You got DeAndre Carter, 2 very gadgety players. Christian Wilkerson, we'll see how he ends up panning out. But those top 3 players is why I have the wide receiver room ranked number 1. But then Davante Adams kind of, definitely helps. Let's go to the second group here. And I think a lot of times when we bring up position groups, the one that's always ignored is special teams. And I get it. It's not the sexy pick, but I always say on the show, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to have a good offense, you got to have a good defense, and you got to have a good special teams room. Luckily for the Raiders, we have one of the best in the entire National Football League. DeAndre Carter, Amir Abdullah, they're going to be solid kick returners. Carter's going to do a hell of a job on punt return, which was a really, really big eyesore last season for this team. Your long snapper is Jacob Bobenmoyer. I'm not going to sit up here and try to dissect what Jacob Bobenmoyer means to this team, but realistically, the reason why I have this unit at number 2 is you got the second best kicker in football in Daniel Carlson. You have an all-pro punter in A.J. Cole. You combine that with DeAndre Carter. This is the second most confident group I am with, which is special teams. Let's go to number 3 here, and it's the first defensive unit. I'm going to go with defensive end. I know the Raiders have struggled getting after the quarterback in years past, but I think that actually has a lot more to do with the defensive interior line than more of the edge rushers. You have, in my opinion, the best defensive end in football, Maxx Crosby. If he played for another team, people would talk about him in a lot different light. He has led the NFL in pressures. He leads the NFL in quarterback hurries. And this is the year that he's going to break Greg Townsend's single-season record for most sacks in a year. And he's going to have more than 16. I'm telling you that right now. Maxx Crosby is one mean mother effer, but it's also, I expect more from Chandler Jones. He might be playing a little bit more outside linebacker, but I'm expecting more from Chandler. And I'm expecting something from Tyree Wilson. And then you got Malcolm Koonce in there, who I do think is going to be a solid pass rusher. But the reason that this group is as confident as it is because Maxx Crosby is the best player on the field every time he steps on the field this season, minus when they play the Chiefs. That's how confident I am in Maxx Crosby. Let's now go to the fourth unit here. It's the offensive tackle room for me. At left tackle, you have Kolton Miller, who I do see as being one of the best offensive tackles in all of football. Jermaine Illuminor is Probably one of the most underrated offensive tackles in all of football, which it's criminal because what he did last season at right tackle is impressive. What he did last year at right tackle, considering Alex Bars was next to him, is even more impressive. Justin Herron stinks. Not going to twist that one up. Thayer Munford is a dude that I do think has some upside. Working with Carmen Brasillo, hopefully they can get it going. But to me, you have Colt Miller, you have Jermaine Illuminor, two very, very solid offensive tackles. And because of you having two solid offensive tackles is why I have them at number 4. We still got a few more positions, obviously, to roll through here. But what I want to know from the audience right now is what position group are you the most confident in going into the 2023 regular season? All right, man, let's go to the next group here that I'm confident in. At number 5, it's the cornerback room. I love what Marcus Peters is going to bring to this defense. You have Nate Hobbs, and I'm hoping that you see the flashes of Hobbs that we got as a rookie, not so much as a sophomore. That rookie season when he first came out, man, out of Illinois, dude was balling out. Jacorian Bennett, rocking number 0. You better pull up to the scene every single weekend. But I do like the press man coverage that you're going to get from this team. I do think you're going to see a lot more turnovers. Also, Brandon Faison, we'll see how healthy he is. Amik Robertson has shown that he's got that dog in him, which I like to see out there. And then even like the practice squad, if they were to bring up a few players, cool. David Long Jr., not on the practice squad on the 53, good overall player. Like, he would have been one of your better cornerbacks last season. But if you want to promote Tyler Hall, you want to promote Sam Webb from the practice squad, that's the reason why I have cornerback at number 5 over at number 6, the running back room. And this was probably one of the most difficult rooms to judge because, to me, you got Jacobs, who and most people here would probably say is the best running back in football. I'll say no doubt a top 5 running back. Yes, I have made videos out there saying that we got to be able to face the facts. Numbers don't lie. When running backs get the amount of touches that Jacobs put up last season, it has led to injuries in other years. I'll also say, though, not many of those running backs were also entering again into a contract season, which essentially is what Jacobs is going to be doing since he's playing on the franchise tag. So that's something with Jacobs. After that, though, you're lying to yourself if you're not sitting here saying there's a lot of question marks. Zamir White, I'm sorry, did not look all that great in the preseason. Amir Abdullah is really just a third down back that you can use as a pass catcher here and there. Brandon Bolden, there you go. That's my thought process on Brandon Bolden. Jacob Johnson, I do think, is one of the best fullbacks in football, but there's not many fullbacks out there. He's a great, great blocker, and that's exactly what this Raiders organization needs from him. But overall, that group, it's good, but it can be great because of Jacobs. If something happens to Jacobs, we go from having a good running back room with Jacobs to one of the worst running back groups in the league. Just saying. If something happens to Jacobs, that running back room is ugly. I'm not going to say 3 ugly. That's me. But at least 1 ugly. Let's go to the next group here. Coming in at number 7. I'm going to do the interior offensive line. And I kind of put the guards and the centers all together in one unit. I'm a big fan of Dylan Parham. When the Raiders drafted him last year, I sat up here and said he's going to be a Pro Bowl guard. Like, his vision to me, his ability, like a lot of times people talk about vision for like a QB, or they'll talk about, I don't know, certain visions for being able to read different packages or whatnot. It is unbelievably important for your offensive lineman to be able to understand his blocking assignment, put his body in the right direction, and then on top of that, be able to diagnose and read when a team's bringing a blitz. And I think Dylan Parham's ability to do that is really spectacular. Plus, he can play multiple positions on your offensive line. On top of that, Andre James has gotten better and better every year. I like Greg Van Roten. This Raiders offensive line got better because Van Roten is light years ahead of Alex Bars. But then even on top of that, there's some good depth there, I think, with some of the guards behind those guys. For them not to keep Netane Moody and McClendon Curtis, I'll admit, was kind of a, I might have more confidence in them than Jordan Meredith. But overall, I really think that Parham, Andre James, and Greg Van Roten is going to be a good unit for this offense overall, which is why I have them at number 7. Let's go to number 8 here. And when I did these rankings, I feel like I'm too low on 8, 9, and 10. I do, but this just kind of goes to show when you go through this entire rankings that the Raiders have a lot more depth this season. And I've said it before, and I know some fans have laughed at me, but Raiders, they have more depth this season than they did back in 2021 when they made the playoffs. That's just point blank simple. At safety, you got Marcus Epps, who was named team captain. I do think you're going to see kind of like what everybody's been hoping, or what everyone was hoping Jonathan Abram was going to be. They're not quite the same player. Like, Abram's definitely more of the firecracker, like going to punch you in the mouth type of dude, where Marcus Epps is he's got it up here. Like, and I saw the numbers that Deron Harmon put up last season. To me, Epps is going to be a hell of a leader on this team. I like Chris Smith, the rookie out of Georgia. He's going to get some good reps in there. Isaiah Pola-Mao is going to be a hell of a player. This is the one position group that I might go back and look at the end of the season and be like, I got this wrong. Like, Roger Teamer's a part of the safety group. He's going to be playing a lot of special teams. But the reason why I say that I could look back at the end of the year and say, Mitch, you were way too low on that one, it's because of Trevon Moehrig. Like, if Moehrig puts it together, and I mean actually puts it together, because when he was a rookie, he was showing flashes of this kid's going to be special. Really struggled in year 2, but that's because of the Patrick Graham system. You have the Gus Bradley system's a lot simpler than Patrick Graham's system, and Moehrig has already said this offseason, I'm thinking less. I'm just going out there and balling. Third year, if Moehrig plays to his ability, he's got top 10 safety in the NFL upside. Like, I don't say that lightly. Moehrig has the opportunity, has the ability to be the best safety on this team, to be a top 10 safety in the NFL. He just has to put it together up there. And if he does, look out. That safety room can be very special. Let's go then to number 9. Some of you are like, when the hell are you going to say quarterback? Right now, I'm going to say quarterback. Do I like Aiden O'Connell? Yes, I do. And if it wasn't for Aiden O'Connell, this group might even be lower than that. Jimmy Garoppolo is a good, reliable quarterback. He is a proven winner, no doubt about it. However, I do think part of that confidence level has to go with the idea that I bet you if you were to ask 10 random Raider fans right now, and you don't know if they have any allegiance to Derek Carr, Gruden, like they're just Raider fans, I bet you 5 out of 10 of those fans, if you'd ask them, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to play an entire season? I think 5 out of 10 would say no. Like, you remember those old commercials when you were a kid? It was like, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this. Imagine you're watching something right now and you hear something, 5 out of 10 doctors recommend this. I'd be like, yeah, I'm probably not going to buy that. I get that Garoppolo can be good. But if he's not, then what's the plan? Because Brian Hoyer's awful. Like, the only reason why he's on the team for practice squad and to help Aiden O'Connell grow and groom. But if your top quarterback's biggest concern is injury, which it is, if he goes and plays the entire 17-game season, I'm telling you right now, if Jimmy Garoppolo plays all 17 games, I think the Raiders make the playoffs. I think they have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs because that means the offensive line has kept Garoppolo healthy, and if that also means that the running game is cooking on all cylinders, because that's the only way Jimmy G's staying healthy the entire year, is if a lot of things go the Raiders' way, which unfortunately hasn't been the case over the past few seasons. So quarterback, I got it number 9, which means we still have 3 more positions to go. So for those that do not know, I got a Raiders tattoo on Thursday and Friday. If you guys could, go show some love to my tattoo artist. The guy absolutely killed it. He's on Instagram at Sayer_tattoo. That is spelled SEYER_tattoo, TATTOO. It's also on my Twitter. It's on my IG at MitchellRentz365. If you're thinking of getting a Raiders tattoo, if you know somebody in the tattoo business, show them some love. Or if you're like my mom and my dad that are like, I can't believe that you got that on your leg. Well, guess what? There's times I look down and I'm like, shit, I can't even believe it. But I freaking love it. And you know also I love? Showing love to people that are passionate about what they do. I'm passionate about this. I'm sure you guys are passionate about something. Sayer's a really passionate tattoo artist. And if you haven't seen the leg, that's some artistry type of work. So go show him some love, give him a follow, and just say, bro, you killed it. Because at the end of the day, he's repping for the nation, and that's what this show here is about. Let's go to the next group here. At number 10, it's tight end. And the safety, honestly, from interior offensive line, safety, quarterback, and tight end, it was coin flips all around. Like, I almost felt like I was, I I'm a big pros and cons guy, right? If I'm making a big decision in my life, I'll sit down and I'll make a pros and cons list. And that's kind of what this came down to. At tight end, you have 3 tight ends, so not a lot of depth, which is why they kind of got buried there a little bit. But I do like Michael Mayer, needs to get better in run blocking, and because of that alone is why they dropped down as far as they did. I do think Austin Hooper is a sneaky person to go out and target in a fantasy football draft because that's Jimmy Garoppolo's guy, but he's going to get the majority of the I don't want to say majority of the snaps. I think he's going to get more snaps than Mayer off the jump. Jesper Horsted is an interesting talent. There's no doubt about that. But it comes down to Mayer, where if Mayer really shows that he can take that leap and he can be that tight end that I think a lot of us think that he can be, this tight end room is going to be a tough one to stop. 2 tight end sets, it's going to be out there. If Mayer continues to struggle in the blocking area and doesn't get out there on the field, that's where I'm okay here with number 10 at tight end. And then after that, there's just like a clear tier drop off. A lot of times when I do rankings, I don't like to just look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to look at it as tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, because there is 2 position groups on this Raiders team where I know deep down, if I would have started this show off saying, what position group are you most worried about right now? I would. Some people might say quarterback because it's quarterback, but I'll say 95% of the fans instantly go linebacker, defensive tackle. And that's why these are the bottom 2 units. For me, at number 11, it's defensive tackle. Defensive tackle to me is, I like Bilal Nichols, and then after that, it's a lot of question marks. Like, I like the tape that I saw from Byron Young coming out of Alabama. He is battling an injury right now, which if he's not able to go, that concerns me because I'm not the biggest believer in a Jerry Tillery. I do like Adam Butler. I do like John Jenkins, but John Jenkins is 34. Butler is not old. People look at him as being old because they've had some of these younger players on the team, and he's worked in some vast Patriot systems before, but he's not a standout type of player. Like, the year that I'm hoping Adam Butler has, and it's not even comparable in terms of players, but remember when the Raiders brought in Solomon Thomas 2 years ago? Obviously, Sully had this like super high draft pedigree. He was drafted number 3, but came in for the Raiders and did an okay job. That's what I see with Adam Butler doing this upcoming season. He's not going to be a world breaker, but he's going to be a okay, solid player on the defensive tackle line. Nesta Jade-Silvera is a wild card to me. That dude can be a solid run stopper. One of my friends, past Raiders player, now with the Cowboys, Jonathan Hankins, like that was his big thing that he did. He was a run stopper. That's the career path I see Nesta Jade-Silvera taking, where I don't really see him being ever somebody that's going to get after the quarterback, but you need somebody to be an anchor on the interior line. That's where Nesta Jade-Silvera can step up and play sort of a good role there for the Raiders overall. All right, let's go to then the final one. It's linebacker. Divine Diablo's got the green dot. Cool. Robert Spillane named team captain. I'm hoping that works out. Amari Burney's a hell of an athlete. Still very raw. Curtis Bolton, good special teams player. Looked good in preseason coverage. We'll see what it looks like during the regular season. And then Luke Masterson, a UDFA player. Like, I get that Patrick Graham doesn't really integrate these linebackers into what he does in his system. That doesn't mean I'm not worried about it. Like, I am, man. I am worried about defensive tackle, and I am worried about linebacker. Both are interchangeable to me. So let's go right here. The final question on today's show is this. What position group are you the most worried about? For me, it's linebacker. And it's right there with defensive tackle, man. So please let me know down in the comments which one you're most worried about. All right, if you made it this far in the video, again, y'all, huge shout out to every single person that always tunes into this YouTube show. It's crazy to me that we have over 141,000 subscribers and we continue to grow and grow. But I know this, it's about to be the regular season. And if you thought what we've done in the past is wild, I promise you this, what we're about to do this season is going to blow your freaking mind. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. And if you did make it to the very end of the video, I want you to write down what my hat says. That way I can see what people actually made it to the end of the video. All right, if you're looking for more content here from the Raiders Report, click the subscribe button right here. We're dropping videos every single day. More videos right over here to get you the content that you need. And then if you're like, Mitch, I can't get enough of this channel. over here even more content. I'm going to be back in the studio tomorrow, so all the graphics and everything is going to be back. But I appreciate for you guys understanding how it went the last 3 days. Videos, subscribe here on the Raiders Report.